Hey, it's Denise from DeniseDibracchio.com and owner of EDM World Magazine, edmworldmagazine.com. And in this video, I'm going to teach you how to pick a DJ name or how to pick an artist name. And there's a few things you want to consider what determines a good artist name. First thing is that there's a lot of aspects to really take into consideration. Ideally, you want a name that's easy to say and pronounce. You want one that sounds cool when you say it. It should be easy to read. Should be easy to spell out, memorable, unique, and searchable as well. If you can keep it short and punchy, that's good too, but sometimes that's a little hard to do. So right now we're in a digital world that won't be changing anytime soon, and it's really important to remember that if someone searches your name on Google, you want to be the first search result that actually comes up. This is something that is important because if there's other established brands that come up when you do a search, it's going to be hard for you to beat them out and go to the top. Google is really important when it comes to SEO, so it's not something you want to take lightly. You need to also take into consideration what type of control you want to have over your digital assets. And your URL is really important and a big part of that. So if your website URL.com name is not available, you probably want to pick a different name. This is going to be the same that is true for your social media handles as well. And at the end of this video, if you stick around, I have some resources you can use to help you see if those names and URLs are available. So you want to also think about, will this name be okay down the road 20 years from now? Are you still going to be happy and satisfied with it? That's something to consider and look into the future about. Another big aspect, bullet point number 1, if you will, is to use your birth name. Some people aren't sure if they want to use their birth name or not, but if it fits and it's easy to say, easy to pronounce, all those things I mentioned, it might be a good option for you to go with. You also want to consider privacy. If you're a type of person who likes a lot of privacy, you might not want to use your real name. You also want to consider potentially using a nickname or a middle name that you have, or maybe a shortened version of your real name. It might even be cool to translate your name into a different language and see what comes up. That might be something that really sticks for you. The next bullet point, number 2, would be debate nouns. So think in terms of nouns, people, places, or things. Think of putting together very commonly used words on a daily basis, but might not commonly be used together. This creates a sense of understanding, which also gives someone a feeling of curiosity. A great example in the DJ world is knife party. It's separately, each of those words, people understand and know what they mean, but when you put them together, it kind of is a cool concept and something that people have to digest and really think about as to what that might be in their mind. So that's just one example that I have. Feel free to consider using nouns as a way for you to create a name. Next bullet point would be to think about evoking emotion or feeling or an idea by thinking big picture and long term. So what I mean by this is the name that you pick can have a whole story and meaning around it. This can be helpful and useful when it comes to expanding your brand and as you grow as an artist. With the knife party example, let's say knife party, they really love knives, so that's why they picked knife to be in their actual artist name. Maybe they want to host a knife party for their fans to attend and see a variety of unique, rare, and beautiful knives. Another idea, perhaps, is maybe they want to do a knife creating workshop for their fans. So they get to design and build their own custom knives, and they made them at this knife party in person with their favorite artist. Or perhaps maybe every month a new knife design is released and only a few hundred are sold. This would increase the value and turn them into a collector item by their most loyal and dedicated fans. Or perhaps maybe they want to do a knife throwing tournament and to see who can get the most bullseyes at the target. Whoever wins could get a prize and have an exclusive dinner party with their favorite artist. These are all what I'd call an add-on idea that Knife Party could do before their show or host online in order to bring in additional money. Not only would it bring in additional money, but it would also create a unique and memorable experience for their fans. So it's just one idea of how thinking about your artist name and how it can be involved with your brand on a big picture type of scale. Next bullet point is to make up a totally new word. This can also work, but it takes a little bit more creativity to do, and it's a little bit more tricky, so you might want to try a random word generator potentially as an option there. Next bullet point is rhyming patterns or alliteration consideration. See what I did there? Just like a catchy song, it can also be useful to pick a name that has a sticking factor sound to it. So alliteration is an easy thing to incorporate, which means it has the same letter or sound at the beginning of adjacent or closely connected words. So a few big brands that you would know that use this example would be Best Buy, Coca-Cola, PayPal, and Lululemon. So think about how you can bring in alliteration potentially to your artist name. It really sticks in the mind and is easy for people to remember. Next bullet point is icons or symbol consideration. So what icon or symbol could be associated with the name that you pick? It's great to have an icon associated with your logo so that every time someone sees your name, they also see the icon along with it. Now, something to think about is that I wouldn't recommend having these icons or logos be part of the name itself. There's certain artist names who use this, like these types of symbols, whether it be dashes or slashes, and those can be really difficult and confusing when you take into consideration the next point, which is Siri and Alexa. So as technology is starting to advance, audio recognition and voice recognition and assistance can really help or hurt your ability to hear words and share them when you're requesting a song. So you want your fans to be able to quickly and easily say, Alexa, play blank by blank. If Alexa doesn't understand what you're saying or how to pronounce the artist's name, it could be really difficult for your music to be played when your fans are asking Siri or Alexa to come and play your music. So keep that in mind when it comes to using symbols in the actual name of your artist name. I would not recommend it at all. In terms of genre consideration, that's another bullet point and something to really think about. When it comes to this type of music that you're creating, you want to think about what are common themes and ideas that go along with that genre or with that community. So, for example, country music is really associated with cowboys and beer, and think about what is really associated with your genre and maybe how that can somewhat tie into what your artist name is. That also fits your personality too, right? You want that to be part of how you pick your name. Another big bullet point to take into consideration is your word meaning. So you want to make sure that you do a search of the word you're considering using and its origin. The last thing you want to do is offend someone or put down a culture or a group of people you might not be familiar with. One example of this is an email service provider that I use. It's called ConvertKit. I'll link it in the description below. It's an email service provider, and they were considering changing their name to Seva. I think that's how you say it. So the name Seva to ConvertKit had the intention that the word was a reference to selfless service, which the word also has a deep sacred meaning to religious cultures. And so Serva is a holy and sacred practice that involves giving generously to others out of love, tied so deeply to spirituality that it cannot be separated from spirituality itself. So ConvertKit did not want to hurt or push people away who could benefit from using their email service provider solution, so they decided to actually stick to their original name. When it came up in the Facebook group, I saw the post and everyone was commenting saying they don't really agree with the name and this is why. And so you want to make sure that you're picking a name that's not going to have any issues like that. And so ConvertKit actually decided to stick with ConvertKit and not change their name because of this, because their community spoke up. But they had to deal with a lot of issues because they actually had redone the whole branding, launched everything, and changed everything. And it cost them a lot of money to actually just get the domain for the new name that they want it to go to. So make sure that you just look up the origin. Next bullet point to consider is alphabetical order consideration. So a lot of music libraries usually list artist names in alphabetical order. When you download a song, go to your library, you see everything is from A to Z. So if your name starts with a Z, it might not come up as frequently for fans who are going to listen to music. So you might want to stick to picking an artist name in the letter of the alphabet that's closer to the first half of the alphabet. Something to consider for sure. Next bullet point is, top tools to see your name, if your name is available for use. So this is the bonus that I talked about earlier in the video. You want to check to see if your name has been legally trademarked yet. So this is something I think a lot of people skip because they don't necessarily think about the legal ramifications early on, but you do not want to ignore this because it could be extremely expensive with legal battles down the road. I actually do know another magazine owner who had to change his name after a year and a half or so in business because he missed this step. He had to then spend a lot of money to change the name, and if he would have just done this first step, he wouldn't have had any of these problems. So it's actually really easy to look up trademarks here in the US. All you have to do is go to the uspto.gov/trademark URL. I'll also link that below in the description for you. And once you've done the search, you want to do a basic word mark search. That's what it's called. And you want to click to see if that word is marked as live or dead. If it's live, it means someone's actively using that trademark and probably don't want to use that. I'm not giving you legal advice, but this is just my own opinion. If it's marked as dead, you probably don't want to use it either, but it's up to you. Definitely hire a legal counsel and see what they say. So that's the first thing that you should definitely look up. And then in terms of my favorite website to help you see what names are available in terms of URL and also social media handles, you can go to namechecker.com. I'll also link it below for you. And it will let you know if your URL, the word that you want, url.com, is available. And I do recommend that you stick with the .com. I really don't think picking .net or .anything else is really ideal. Usually the .com is the best one to get, so try and get that if you can. And another just bonus tip here is for socials. If your social media handle is taken, oftentimes I've seen it where, maybe the Facebook handle is there, but then Twitter's not, or, Instagram's there, but Snapchat's not. If that's the case, I do recommend that you just add a underscore under your handle name at the end, not in the middle, not in the front. Add an underscore at the end. This way, it doesn't really mess up the name, and it's still easy to find and be searchable. The only other thing that I see people mess up on when it comes to picking their name is sometimes they will say pick a name like music by blank, whatever the name is. You can do that, but in terms of search and SEO wise, search engine optimization in terms of Google, and also on just searching through Facebook and Instagram, if you type in, when someone's trying to find you, the chances that they're going to type in music by name is much less common than someone just typing in your name first. So that's why I always recommend that you start your handle on social media with your actual name, and then if you have to add something at the end, do that, whether it be an underscore or a number or whatever it is. Definitely always put that at the end instead of starting anything beforehand with your name. So if you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up, hit subscribe, hit that bell as well so you can get notified when I post my next video. And I hope you enjoy these next videos that I'm going to be doing all about artist development, branding, building, and lots more. So make sure that you leave a comment below. Let me know what your thoughts are on this video. If there's any tips that you have, please feel free to share it. And I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.